This world has not seen the former daily routine for half a year. A black sword was stuck into the ground. The hero said that this weapon was pretty good, except that it was expensive. He was surprised that his hand had already regenerated. He straightened his hand. He saw the magazine. There was a screen with the store in front of the hero. He said that he would probably buy 2 healing potions and something to eat, or he would soon starve to death. He thought he was already used to this skill. He drank the potion and removed the bandage from his arm. Monsters appeared in front of him. He thought he was used to even them. The hero thought that because of his skill, the immortality potion, the most powerful weapons, magic tools, all these things he could buy. He thought that in this world, he is the strongest. He was surprised that it happened again. The hero entered the school classroom. His desk was overturned. He started to pick up his worksheets and thought how silly this was. Someone was preparing a bag. The heavy bag landed right on the hero's head. He turned around. No one cared about him. The teacher came in and told everyone to sit down. He turned to Bachai. He asked him to hurry up and take his seat. Bachai thought to himself that this one was the same way, and how such people even managed to get a job as a teacher. The hero thought that now even the people who felt sorry for him were now taking it quite habitually. He didn't understand why he was even in this situation. Someone kicked him because of all his strength. Bachai thought that the reason was this guy. The one said good morning. The teacher told Osaka that he was late. He replied that it was just that the train was delayed and asked what was the matter. Was there any problem? The teacher frowned. He said no, but asked him to be more careful next time. Osaka smiled. He said okay and kicked Bachai in the face. One of the students was puzzled and covered her mouth with her hand. Osaka said he thought it was an insect and told the hero to get out of the way. Bachai knew that Osaka Edo was the grandson of the principal of this school. He thought about the fact that the principal just adores his grandson, which is why he has such power that no one dares to go against. Bachai thought that unless he was the only one who tried to stand up to this power idiot. Osaka shouted to him. He said to run him down for a beer, adding that he was thirsty. Bachai was surprised. He said he couldn't buy it and asked what it was all about. The girls heard a banging and cracking sound. Bachai fell on the floor with the desks and chairs after Osaka's punch. The girl said the hero's name with worry. Osaka said just go and buy, calling Bachai a scum. The man got to his feet and swung his fist. He hit Osaka very hard. He looked stern and his opponent flew back. The classmates were shocked. After this incident, he was under Osaka's constant surveillance, and now he was his object of bullying. Bachai thought about the same time he would be lying if he said he wasn't expecting this. He thought that he would become everyone's hero by trying to confront him, but it was really not like that. In the faces of his classmates, he saw distrust, disgust, fear. Many followed Osaka's example and joined in the bullying. Bachai pondered whether he would be able to interact with them normally if he got rid of Osaka. It was as if the class didn't notice him. He thought that they didn't, and that people were no longer trustworthy to him. Suddenly, someone called out to him. It was the girl Totoki Coin. She looked embarrassed. She was the head of their class. Bachai, without turning around, grudgingly asked what was wrong. The girl, hesitating, asked if he was all right. She said she just wanted to make sure. Bachai said it shouldn't bother her. Totoki leaned over and apologized. The classmates were discussing that this guy is the one who makes a fool of himself even when Totoki-san tries to talk to him. They said that was why they were making fun of him, calling him a fool. The hero thought about how they don't even realize what happened, but he's already guilty for them. He told Totoki to get away from here soon. She apologized and left. During another beating behind the school, Osaka told Bachai to at least try to fight back a little. He said Bachai was so boring, and then he was reckless enough to hit him. The hero thought about the fact that those three did everything for him, and he talks like he's doing it with his own hands. Osaka said that now he was even bored of hurting him anymore. His aides asked him if he wanted to kill Bachai. The man replied that no one would be sad if some bastard like him died anyway. The boys were puzzled. Osaka said that he knew that Bachai was an orphan and that he had been living alone since first grade. He said with a sneer that the poor guy. The hero gave him a serious look. Osaka turned to one of the boys, Ishida. He handed him a knife and told him to slit Bachai's throat with it. Ishida was puzzled and asked if it was about him. Osaka shouted with a question, "Who else?" The boy said yes, but wanted to disagree. Osaka got angry. He said that they didn't seem to have any balls at all and kicked Bachai in the stomach. The boys stared in surprise. The hero fell to the ground, clutching his stomach. Osaka looked at him menacingly. He put a knife to the hero's throat and told him to look this way and asked if Bachai should cry and beg for mercy to let him go. He shouted that Bachai realized that his stubbornness would not end well. He brought the knife closer and shouted vividly, swearing allegiance to him. He furiously asked if he had heard. The hero looked at him with a nonchalant expression. Osaka said just not that look. He kicked the hero again and walked away, saying he was so boring. At this time, his classmates were in class, including Totoki. Bachai lay looking up at the sky and thinking about how he had almost been killed again. He heard a voice asking him to surrender. Hiro was being asked to surrender. The man was saying that anyone who harms himself by trying to fight is a fool and one must be able to face the truth. Bachi slammed his fist on the wall. He turned to his father and said that he did not want to end up the way he had ended up. He said he was not going to run away from reality. Suddenly, an intense pain made him curl up. He got down on his knee. Raising his head, he asked what the strange headache was. The hero had a headache. He went back wondering if something had happened. From what he saw around the corner, he was shocked. The schoolchildren were running away and they were attacked by monsters. The boys screamed as they suddenly saw a huge monster right behind them. He came out of the building, collapsing it. He grabbed one boy in his fist. The monster began to bring him to its mouth. Bachi looked at it in surprise and had one question. What the hell is this? He didn't realize what was going on. He thought it was feeding on people. Bachai said that at this rate, he would soon be too. He said it was too dangerous to stay here and he could be attacked at any moment. He decided that he should go back to the classroom and see how it was. Suddenly, he remembered all the bullying from his classmates. He wondered why he was even bothering with his class at a time like this. Bachi didn't want to, but his bag was in the classroom. He decided he didn't need it anymore anyway. On someone's call at 110, only beeps were heard. A severed hand held the phone, and the call was finally answered. They said it was the police, 102, and asked if there was an incident or accident. There was a monster nearby. He was listening to the phone. The policeman was no longer answered. At this time, the siren was blaring. The ambulance was in traffic. The loudspeaker said that the ambulance needed to pass, asking to clear the way. Bachi thought that it couldn't be, and that isn't it just around the school. He realized that they were feeding on people, and the whole town was overrun with them. The building sagged. Right behind the hero's back, there was an explosion in the building. He was dumbfounded. He didn't realize what had happened, but he had an assumption. People saw a monster. Bachi was scared and ran wherever he could. Exhausted, he stopped, leaning on a stone fence. Looking through the window of the house, he saw the monster tearing off the woman's arm. The monster heard the monster and looked at the window. There was no one outside the window anymore. Bachi ran again. On the way, he heard screams from the houses, people asking for someone to help. The hero couldn't believe that this was happening here too. He made it to his house. In front of him was the door to the apartment. He slowly opened it and concluded that everything seemed to be all right. He went inside and thought he should turn on the lights. He said it was quiet for the time being. On the table was a picture of his mom. Bachi turned on the television. There, a girl was reading the breaking news that police and fire brigades had been mobilized after unknown creatures were discovered in Tokyo and several people were injured. Bachi realized that this was not just in their city, but all over Japan, or maybe even the world. He thought it looked like a disaster. Suddenly, he had another headache. The hero thought, what was that strange pain all over his body? He thought it was just like when he was beaten by Osaka. He remembered the moment when one of the schoolchildren was eaten by a monster. He tensed up. Taking a shower, Bachai thought that these creatures attacking people were clearly not from this world, and it seemed to him that they had appeared first not from outside the school, but directly from inside. He did not understand what it was. He covered his body with band-aids and thought about letting them attack all they wanted. Looking at the bookshelf, the hero remembered that he had read similar stories in novels about monsters from another world reincarnated in the real world. He decided that, come to think of it, they were nothing like these goblins. Bocce thought about what was common there at times like this. He decided that why not give it a try. He held out his hand and said he wanted to open the status. After that, the towel fell off his head. He decided it would be better to look at the situation from the outside. The hero realized that it was dangerous to be outside. Everything was swarming with them. He didn't think that tomorrow everything would be back to normal, and one should be prepared for that. He thought that while he had the chance, he should stock up, food and necessities before they ran out. But he realized that things could continue like this. Bocce thought about how it was only a matter of time before the police and military set things up, and they should be fully armed. He heard on the news that an unknown creature had appeared at the city police station. It was said that weapons had been used in the building, but the station could not be contacted. Perhaps it had been overrun by the unknown creature. The hero wondered if the armed forces too. Suddenly, there was a shout on the news that they were here. Someone yelled to film, and the camera was turned around. The monsters showed up. They were yelled to run away from here. Bocce heard that today, at about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, a large number of unknown beings appeared in the office of Shui TV, and they were relayed that there were many injured and dead inside the building. It was extremely difficult to search there. Bocce thought that if the world was overrun with monsters, they might have to resort to nuclear weapons, or the human race would collapse in a battle with each other for supplies. A catastrophe of gratuitous violence, far more vicious and violent than humans were capable of, he thought. He did not know what would happen when it did. He did not know if he could survive in this world. His father appeared in his thoughts and asked if Bocce understood. He said he couldn't help him anymore, that his mom wasn't coming back. He said to just give up. Hero yelled that it didn't matter. He said he needed to stock up now while he could, or there would be nothing to buy later. He thought he should hurry up and go to the grocery store, then to the household goods store. He also decided that he needed to pick up his bag. The hero thought it would take too long, and it was such a hassle. He said that at times like this, he really wished he could teleport or fly. Suddenly, he noticed something strange. A screen appeared in front of him, on which he read about a unique skill and a store. He heard a voice that said it was an awakening. Bocce didn't realize what was happening. He looked at the screen. He wondered what kind of unique skill this was. He didn't think he had such a thing. He thought about first the monsters, now the skills, and it does feel like a fantasy world. The hero thought it was strange, but it made him feel that it was all serious. He said he was curious to see what the skill was like. He remembered it was called a store and said that. A store opened up on the screen. He saw sew boxes in balance and thought the store was like a website. He noticed the favorites. Bocce wondered what was on sale and poked at the screen. The description said that drinking this would restore strength and wounds would instantly heal. He saw that it cost 150 points and wondered if he should try it. The hero saw that he had 3,000 points in his account, and he thought it was some kind of welcome bonus. He clicked buy and pay. He was told that the request to purchase healing potions C had been sent. It was easier than he thought. Bocce turned his attention to the box and clicked on it. Suddenly, he heard a clatter. He looked down and noticed that a potion had appeared under his feet. He thought that nothing would happen if he drank it. Bocce pulled out the cork and brought the potion to his lips. He drank the jar. He was very surprised. The hero realized that the pain was gone and the scratches were gone. He thought that everything was as claimed. He realized that the store has medicine, weapons, magic, and everything from food to household goods can be bought there. Bocce thought that the store skill was all he needed to survive in this monster-infested world. There were a lot of monsters in front of the school. The students crowded around and discussed that someone seemed to have been eaten. They shouted not to push and move faster. Totoki was yelled to move out of the way, and she apologized. She thought about Bocce and what if he stayed there and got into trouble. She hated the fact that she was powerless again. At this time, the hero on the balcony was looking into the observation mirror. It allowed him to determine the status of the object captured in his field of vision. On the house, he saw that it was the lower level dungeons. There were 4 monsters and 1 core. He thought of the lower level dungeon and realized that it seems that the buildings themselves became the dungeons. Bachai thought about the fact that no monsters could be seen outside. He didn't know if they only appeared from the dungeons. He thought that the infrastructures were still in formation, and maybe the world was safer now than he thought. The news said that the number of people who had died across the country after the unknown creatures appeared was over 600. Bachi thought, what kind of safety could we be talking about? It was said that false rumors were being spread on social media. The hero was surprised that the network was still working. He remembered his phone and didn't realize where it was. He rummaged through his pockets and found nothing. Bachi groaned. He wondered if the phone was at school. Looking at it, he saw that it was a lower level dungeon. There were 42 monsters and 2 cores. The hero realized that this is their lair. He realized that going there is quite risky, but there is no way he can lose what is stored on that phone. He decided that's why he would go after it and called the store. He thought he should look at weapons first and went into the category. He saw a knife for 20 grand. It was an assassin's knife, 5% chance to instantly kill an opponent. And even though it's just a knife, it seems pretty strong. He thought he might as well take it. Suddenly, he saw something. He realized that it was a martial book. It was offered to learn martial arts just by reading it. Bachi thought it was better than nothing. He pondered what else he could buy with his money. To be honest, he didn't think that this skill was that strong. He thought that this skill was useless if he didn't have money, because this was the truest store and he could wait until morning to withdraw his money. But he didn't know if his phone would definitely last there until morning. He thought there was no way he could lose it and looked at the buy button near the knife. Bachi decided he had no choice but to fight. The school's sports field and classroom were empty. Totoki looked at the time and thought it was so late. It was 22:05. She hoped that Bachai had escaped in time and hoped to survive the night. At this time, the hero snuck into the school. He looked at the monster through the observation mirror and found out that there were 8 monsters in this monster school building. He realized that he was the only one on this floor. It was an F-rank goblin and Bachai thought he could. Suddenly, he heard a monster right behind him. The hero realized that it was another one of the other goblins. He pointed his knife at it, and in the next instant, it disappeared from sight. Suddenly, he chopped the goblin in half. Bachi looked frightened. He thought about his movement now and remembered the battle book. He thought that he had really just read it, and it seems that it wasn't just a fantasy item. Another monster was already running at him, and the hero wondered if it was the same one. Bachai thought that now all he had to do was to take what he needed and return home. He cautiously walked into the empty classroom. Totoki was in her locker at this time. She was frightened and wondered what it was just now, and if it was the monster again. Bachai opened the locker and saw the frightened girl. He shined a flashlight on her. She didn't see Bachi and started to attack with a scream, swinging a wooden stick at him. The hero covered her mouth. He told her to calm down. She recognized Bachai, but could only mumble. He noticed she was having trouble breathing and lowered his hand. The girl breathed in relief. The hero said he would explain to her later and beckoned her to go. Totori turned to him. He asked what was wrong. She said he was fine. She tearfully said, "Thank God." The hero was surprised. The girl headed for his arms. She hugged him, and they ended up on the floor. Bachai thought about the fact that he couldn't leave her and go. When they were children, Bachai had told Totoki it was okay when she cried and picked up her wet things. Totoki thought she had gotten help then. He said to trust him. That's how she met Hiro-kun, and she always wanted to help him too. Asaka had once told Bachai that he was lonely after all, but that was okay. He would help him meet mommy and daddy in heaven, and that he could thank him. Then Totoki thought that she should tell them to stop. She wanted to help Hiro-kun. Suddenly she woke up and didn't realize where she was. The girl recalled the recent events with horror. The phone on the shelf was making sounds. Bachai went to the door at that time and Totoki answered the phone. It was her sister, to whom she apologized. She asked if she needed to go get Mahina, and she said yes. She spotted Bachai and said she was at a friend's house. The hero asked what it was. The girl said it was nothing and asked her to ignore it. She didn't understand why Bachai was here and wondered if her face was too red now and if her hair was all right. She realized that this was his home. Hiro thought about how troublesome it would be if she stayed here for a long time. He said that since she was awake, let her come home. Totoki said she would go. She thanked him for his help. Bachai said that it was not necessary to thank. She was embarrassed and remained silent. The girl said she was going and that she had to go get her sister. She opened the door. Stopping, she apologized to Bachai. She said that she couldn't help him when he was being bullied, and she just didn't have the courage. The hero said that he didn't blame her either and understood how she felt. He said that sacrificing yourself for someone else is hard. Totoki was embarrassed and agreed. She remembered his words, how as a child he said to trust him. She said that she wanted to be like him. The girl said she wanted to sacrifice herself like he did, that she wished she was brave enough to stand up to Asaka-kun. She said that she would have wanted to help Bachai-kun and wanted to be someone he could trust for him. The hero said that was impossible. He said he didn't understand how you could trust strangers without repaying them. Totoki said that's not true, and she trusts him after all. He replied that he said it was impossible. She asked what makes him think that. Bachai asked if she would take her side if he trusted her. The girl did not understand the question. He said that the outcome would still be the same, and she would betray him without intending to sacrifice herself. He said that no matter how much she believed it, she would still betray, and not only her, he would betray her. The hero said that anyone would betray if their life was on the line. He said that people betray and will betray, they always have, and if she wanted to live wisely, she shouldn't trust him or anyone else. Totoki agreed. She said she believed him. He became angry. The hero yelled for her not to believe. She shouted that it was good and that she would trust him so she wouldn't believe. Bachi was perplexed. Totoki said that after all he had brought her here from school and helped her, and that was enough already, so she asked to be allowed to trust him. She said that he could not forbid her to trust him after he had saved her. She said she didn't believe Bachai-kun because he told her not to. She asked him to believe that she didn't, and wished him luck in parting, calling him a fool. The girl slammed the door. The hero thought she was just like a pain in the ass. Totori thought about how Mahina had helped her a lot. The girl said that Totoki's sister and father were away on a business trip, so no one was home, and if they got into trouble, they would be only too happy to help them, and they could count on them. Totoki agreed, but said it was okay and it wasn't worth it. Her little sister waved goodbye. Totori, looking at the building, thought it looked something like their home. On the balconies of the house, she saw monsters. The girl decided that she needed to find shelter and wondered where they even came from. There were monsters at school too, and she thought about it. Her sister turned to her. Totoki decided that she had to protect Mahina anyway, and the only thing left was the house they had just passed. She thought that nothing had happened here a few minutes ago after all. But in that house, a monster was killing a girl in front of her sisters. She was screaming for help. Totoki didn't know where to go anymore. She came to Bachai, who from the doorstep told her to go home. She replied that she knew it was bad. He said she knew it was bad, but ended up coming to him again. The girl replied that she had nowhere else to go. She really asked for at least a day. He replied that he had told her that it was impossible. Totoka's younger sister asked her if it was safe here. Bachai saw a cute little girl. He was shocked. Mahina tearfully told her sister that she was scared here and asked if it would be safe here. The latter replied that it was safe here. The girl asked her sister to go home. Totoki replied that they could not and that they no longer had a home. She apologized. Mahina burst into tears even harder. Bachai turned to Totoki and told her to come in. She was very surprised. He told Mahina that it was safe here and to trust him. He said it was just for today and for them to come in sooner. The sisters hugged each other joyfully. Totoki and Mahina were in the shower. Totoki was helping her little sister wash. Mahina said the tub was so big. Her sister agreed. She thought that Bachai-kun lives alone in such a big house. He at this time had a dream where he was a knight. He and his team were confronting monsters. He rushed forward. Suddenly, he was kicked in the back and flew down. When he looked back, he saw people on the mountain. They were his laughing classmates. It was a dream in which there were only monsters mercilessly tearing him to pieces. He thought that this dream was simply horrible. He held his head, after which he stood up with the thought that it was just a dream. He thought that here was his skill, not a dream, and he needed to find out more about it, to see what else was out there. In the store, he saw food, games, weapons, and thought that was all there could be. He entered the tab with military equipment. Bocce thought there were weapons, and he wondered if there might be some magical weapons here too. He saw weapons for 200 billion and didn't understand how they could even be bought. He wondered then what characteristics it might have. He thought that maybe it was really useful. He said that since this place had everything, it should have this. Then he clicked on search. He looked at the pets and wondered if he could buy a monster. Rank A cost 340 million, rank B 75 million, rank C 67 million. He thought that he didn't have that much on hand. He thought it looked nice, also on sale. The pet could talk to its master. He saw that also their absolute obedience to the owner. He got excited and bought. The bills in his hand disappeared and the purchase was made. The pet appeared in the inventory. Bocce stretched his finger through the screen. Liquid began to fall to the floor from the screen. Paper flew across the room and there was a bright glow from below. Bocce looked at it in surprise. Suddenly, a small bird appeared in front of him. It curled its wings and looked at its master. He was surprised. He thought it was cute. Suddenly, the owl flew up and crashed into Bocce's face, calling him master. She said again that he was her master. The hero took it off her face and said that he understood her and asked her to calm down. She tearfully apologized and said she was glad she saw him. They sat down on the bed. Bocce put his hand up and the owl let herself be stroked. It was evident that she liked it. The hero looked at her with a smile. He said that, by the way, Owl Sonic is a longish name and asked how about Saul. The bird's eyes lit up. She flew to his face again with a cry that of course, and from today she is Saul. Bocce said she was really talking. Saul said she could also take on human form. The hero was surprised and asked again about the human form and if she could do it now. Saul took off and replied that she could. She tensed up and a bright glow appeared. Saul turned into a girl. Bocce thought it was cute, but noticed that the girl from the ceiling was falling right on top of him. Totoki and Mahina were startled by the rumble. They climbed the stairs, calling out to Bocce-kun. They went into the room wondering what the sound was. Saul sat on Bocce and said it was nice to meet you and her name was Saul. Totori didn't understand what was going on and asked Bocce about this baby. The man thought it was not good. He said it was his cousin. Totori was puzzled. He said it was just that she was living with him, a cousin. Mahina was happy, but Totori didn't understand. Saul asked the owner what he was doing. The man replied that he was placing an order. She saw a knife and poison in the order and asked if he was going to fight someone. Bocce replied that he was, and that he was still contemplating going through the dungeon. 2 weeks passed. Totoki came to the store. She thought about the fact that everything in the world seemed to have more or less calmed down. However, things were different. The news said that the number of victims had increased by 42, and now there were only 589. The missing were about 30,000. The sisters were eating and Totoki was looking at her phone. She wondered if everyone was okay. She wondered if Bocce, though he himself had told her to do as he knew how, but after that they hardly spoke to him. She thought that. However, he had actually helped her a lot. Though she was grateful to him, but remembering his words about not trusting anyone, she didn't know what to do. She was approached by Mahina. She thanked her for the food and said that everything was delicious. Totoki smiled. She replied that she was always welcome and wiped her sister's face with thoughts that she should do something too. She gave Bocce konakari and he said how delicious it was and thanked her. Totoki imagined that. She thought that there would definitely be no such thing. At that time, Saul flew into the hero's window and he told her welcome back. Saul took on human form. Bocce asked how it went. She lay down sadly on the floor and turned to the master. She said that there had been an increase in the number of dungeons, not much, but still. Bachai replied that it was just as he thought, and if it went on like this, there was a chance that it would be the same for them. Saul said that was bad, thinking of all the deliciousness she was eating. Bachi agreed and said that's why it's necessary to work, and to do that we need to check something. He said that Saul was staying in charge here, and if anything happened she would tell him. She agreed. The girl said that Saul is Saul, and she will do exactly as he orders. The hero said he would, just in case. He thought about how cute she was. He said that as long as he had this store, nothing bad would happen to him. Saul replied that the owner was good. At this time, Totoki was climbing the stairs, rehearsing how she would say about the curry, whether Bachai would try it, and that she had made it. She was thinking about the fact that everything was fine. Suddenly, she heard the hero's voice as he says see you later and that he went. They met on the stairs and were surprised to see each other. Bachai thought that, and again she. Totoka's mind was spinning phrases about how he wouldn't want to taste the curry that she made. The girl asked where he was going. Bachai replied that what did she care, and he walked on. She wanted to yell for him to be careful, but finished the phrase when the door had already closed. The hero was at the dungeon and looked in the mirror to observe. He recognized that there were 4 monsters and thought that was great. He tossed a pebble and thought he must be right. One of the monsters turned around and noticed Bachai. He started to get close and yelled. With its mouth open, it came almost right up to the hero. He yelled and Bachai stood calmly across from him. He realized that it was just as he thought. The monster just stood there. The hero realized that their goal was obviously assassinations, and since that was the case, there was a good chance that the assassinations were increasing the dungeons. He thought about how it was unnatural that they don't go to places with large crowds, which means they only move around near the dungeon. There's something else he would like to check, but there was something he needed to do first. He pulled out a knife. The monster looked scared. Bachai stabbed the monster with the knife. The monster screamed. The hero delivered many blows to the monster's stomach with his fist, then stabbed the knife right into the monster's eye. The one was defeated and lay on the ground. The next monster approached. Bachai thought that the body was not too immobile and jumped on the enemy. He stuck the knife in its eye again. He thought that he could start going through the dungeon, and the first move was perfect. Saul recalled her master's words that it was best not to mess with Totoki, but mentally apologized to him thinking about how hungry she was. Totoki asked if she was hungry and said she had curry. She asked if she wanted to eat and chat at the same time, adding that she was also somehow sleep deprived. At this time, Bachai was looking in the observation mirror. He realized that he had defeated 2 in the courtyard, and there were 2 more left, and another core. The hero wondered what kind of kernel he was talking about, and whether it could be some kind of creature. He thought either it was treasure, and usually it is in games. He thought about the fact that if he could figure out how dungeoneering worked, he might be able to prevent dungeoneering in his home. He decided that first, he should get rid of the monsters quickly. The hero went into the house. He thought about being alone on the first floor. Everything in the house was overturned, broken, traces of blood and corpses could be seen. He noticed the door ajar. Bachai was surprised that there was no monster and wondered. In the sink, he noticed a creature and assumed it was a smilly. He held out a finger to it, wondering if there were such things. He thought about something he had once read in a manga about it, and something along the lines that it could also be eaten. He thought about how he could destroy him. Bachai drove a knife at it, thinking about how that seemed like the right thing to do. The monster turned into a puddle of water with blood. Bachai thought that there was another one left on the second floor as well. At this time, the monster passed between the rooms. The hero looked around and couldn't find anything, thinking it might be a slime again. He went into the room and saw something under the ceiling. He thought it was the core. Suddenly, he felt a pain. Something had stabbed right into his stomach. He cried out in pain. How it hurt! How it hurt! He didn't realize what it was. He realized that the thing stabbed into him was coming out of the floor, and he didn't know what was happening. Something was rising up through the floor. Right in front of Bachai was a monster with long tentacles. He looked at the hero. The monster reached out its tentacle toward Bachai and grabbed his hand. The man thought that he would die this way. He pulled out his knife and swiped at the tentacle, but nothing happened. He didn't understand why it didn't act. Bachai was right in front of the monster's mouth. He wondered if he had anything. Well, anything at all. He remembered the core and thought, what if he destroyed the core? The hero decided it was all or nothing and pulled out a knife. He threw it forward. The knife hit the monster in the eye, but went right through. The monster loomed over the hero. Bocce said the target was not him. The knife at this time, despite the fact that it flew slightly wrong trajectory, hit the core and it began to disappear. When it finally disappeared, the monster's tentacles also began to dissolve. Bocce said that he had hit. The monster was also gradually disappearing. The hero fell to his knees. Blood was pouring out of him. He thought how cold it was that there was no time to look at the prices and ordered a B-rank healing potion. He drank the potion and threw the bottle on the floor. Bocce thought about the fact that this wound healed in an instant. That was why it was B. He thought that it was only healing after all, but the lack of blood and he wanted to sleep. He lay down on the floor. Bocce was in a terrible state and it was unclear if he could survive. At this time, Totoki and Saul were eating and thinking that something was definitely wrong and they should go after Bocce as he was delayed. They shouted about him to each other at the same time. They were surprised. They ran towards the dungeon. Saul shouted that this is where they should go. She said it was here and rushed inside. Totoki was surprised. When she went in, she saw a headless corpse and screamed. Saul had already found the sleeping master and screamed too. They carried him home with shouts. Saul roared and supported from behind while Totoki carried him on her back. Bocce opened his eyes, but fell asleep again. Later, he woke up and raised his hand. He thought it was a familiar ceiling. He sat up and saw Saul sleeping on his blanket in the guise of an owl with tears in her eyes. He stroked her. Bocce was saying thank you to Totoki for saving him, and then that there was no way he would say that, and she did what she did. The girl was asleep at this time and mumbled that she didn't want to. Passing by her room, Bocce saw that she was asleep and closed the door. A bunch of armed men were ready to attack. Monsters were roaming everywhere. The news said that there was an operation to take over the Parliament building starting today. It was said that movements of dangerous creatures were being observed, that there were at least 1,000 buildings in Tokyo that were confirmed anomalies, and there were over 5,000 buildings nationwide. A defense force was ordered to be sent out to search for the missing. People from the area where there was the greatest threat were evacuated. Bocce went into information about the latest news in the capital. He read the discussion and articles. The hero took hold of his stomach. He continued to sit in the computer. The soldiers were firing volleys from their rifles at this time. The monsters did not react. The soldiers realized that it was not working. One of them shouted that they were sticking to the plan and ordered them to get ready. The monsters walked around the street. There was a massive explosion. The soldier ordered to start firing. The tank fired. Totoki and his sister watched the breaking news. They said that the storming of the Parliament building, which had been mentioned earlier, had begun. For the first time since the war, all of their nation's equipment was being used. The monsters screamed in pain. The city had changed. Bocce read about the monsters becoming too many. Posted a picture with one of them. Wrote that it was scary, asked to stay calm. The hero was holding his stomach. He went into the store and placed an order. The news said they kept broadcasting what was happening but yelled to run and that monsters had appeared. Totoki squeezed her eyes shut as they shouted loudly from the screen. There was an explosion in the high-rise building. Only the noise was shown on the TV. Bocce saw Totori and asked what she wanted. She asked where he was going. He replied that she didn't care. She asked if he didn't like what she was going through and if he was scared himself. The hero said that monsters don't come out of buildings and it's safe outside, nothing scary here. The girl said that here she is creepy. Even just the mere existence of monsters and the fact that they attack people, she is scared that she doesn't even get an answer from her friends. She asked if it wasn't natural for her to have fears and wasn't it obvious. Bocce replied that he was saying the same thing. She yelled that she didn't want him to come in covered in blood like yesterday. She stopped and thought that she didn't mean to say. He asked if she had everything. She asked what. He said he wasn't that stupid. The hero said he had what he had to do to make sure they survived. The girl asked again about Oni. He turned to her. She replied. Bocce said to wait for him here and don't fidget. He said he went. Totoki remembered his words for her to wait for him here and thought of the first time he had said it. The hero was walking through the city and noticed a group of people following him. There were other people in front of him. He turned down an alley, and there he was met by a guy who asked what Bocce was doing there talking to himself. The hero realized that he had survived. It was Osaka. Osaka said that Bocce has been interested in him for a long time, and this is the time. Nothing suspicious if one more person dies. Osaka told the hero to answer. He said that if Bocce didn't answer, he would kill him and asked what he was doing there. The hero stood and watched. He thought about how he now realized why they were here and he had been spotted leaving the house. It had all happened a little earlier. He was walking down the street and heard someone calling out to him, calling him master. He realized it was Saul's voice. She said it was good that she was able to find him. He had not seen her and asked where she was. Saul replied that she was from above, flying high above the city. A dango had been specially bought for this purpose, with which she could communicate at a distance of 10 kilometers. Saul said that this dango was so cool, and even at that distance she could talk to it. Bocce replied that it was indeed convenient, and a good buy it turned out to be. Saul agreed and said that his store was just excellent. The hero said that it is not perfect and there are downsides. Saul opened the can. She asked about the financial policy and what it is. Bocce replied that this skill of money equals the power of battle. The more money, the stronger. He said the amount his mom left him is 10 million, not enough to the amount to buy the highest ranked item. Saul asked what he would do. The hero said about the drop-down item. He said that when he defeated the monster and captured the dungeon, there was already a drop-down item in the box, and for sure it was a reward. He said that he would increase the amount with it. Saul said that he will capture dungeons and save up money. Bocce replied that that was right and Saul was pretty savvy. She wondered. Saul asked how much potato salad could be bought with 5 points. Bocce said she wasn't savvy. He pointed to the screen and said here's what they needed. The girl read 1, 10, 100, 1000. She shouted. Bocce chopped the core of the dungeon in one motion. He said it is easier when the weapon is strong. Saul said thoughtfully what it is. The hero said it was the dungeon core and it alone was worth 1 million. The girl wondered about the million and how many potatoes it was. Bocce suggested going further. He checked on the site with the location, Saul watching everything from above, and Bocce went to capture another dungeon. When he came out of the house, Osaka's men were watching him from around the corner. Now, Osaka was saying that Bocce kept muttering to himself. The hero told Saul to just watch and that it wouldn't take much effort on their part. She asked if he knew them. He replied affirmatively and that they were trash among humans. Osaka asked again and said that he had not heard. He asked what was wrong with his usual attitude. He said it sounded like Bocce was too scared that his voice wasn't coming out. He said they just happened to see him lugging around other people's houses. Osaka asked with a smirk if Bocce was collecting dungeon cores. The hero was surprised that he knew about that too and didn't know where from. He laughed and shouted that although Osaka is trash, he says interesting things. Bocce said to attack and that he just wanted to kick Osaka. Osaka got angry. He said he would kill. A man in a mask and black clothes came up to him and said something. Osaka replied to him that he knew, but first this and the core later. He told one of the men to begin. The one replied that he understood him. He disappeared from where he was. Bocce looked up and marveled. That man was flying straight at him in a leap, swinging his fist. He was smiling. Saul flew over there, shouting to his master. The guy landed in front of Bocce, breaking the asphalt. The hero covered his face with his hand, from the rocks flying in all directions. He thought that Osaka had gotten stronger. The guy said with a smile that he missed. The guy hit the ground again, but Bocce managed to dodge. He was surprised that the man had gotten stronger. The enemy's hand was almost at Bocce's face. His face looked concentrated. He placed his hand so that it glowed. Around his finger, Something began to appear. It was a ring that shone brightly. It was a superb ring. The bocai with the ring directed his attack straight towards that guy. He flew back hard, and the hero was right in front of Osaka. He prepared his fist to strike his enemy. Osaka looked scared. Bocai struck, but Osaka managed to dodge. The hero thought the asphalt was slippery. Osaka crawled backward. The guy with the big hand said that bocai was fast. Osaka shouted to catch him rather. Bocai thought about how he wanted to just hit them once, but it wouldn't be easy. He decided to change his plan. Osaka shouted, asking what he wanted, swearing at that look. The hero ran. Osaka shouted rather catch up with him. Bolsheviki said accepted. Osaka said the others did too. To the guy in black, he said that he was also concerned. The man took off his mask. His face lower from chin to nose was covered in something black. He covered one eye with his hand. He took the cell phone in his hand, on which notifications came. He saw Bocai running from different angles. It was as if he was surrounded by many eyes looking at him. At this time, Bocai asked Saul if she could see. She answered her master that she did. He said he needed time and asked her to tell him where they were. Saul looked closer. She said he was already surrounded. Bocai said it was getting troublesome. He thought he wanted to buy it, but didn't want to in front of them. He ran into the warehouse. Everyone rushed after him. The guy in black hesitated for a moment. His face became visible, his other eye was black, and the skin near it was covered with black spots. Osaka marveled at the warehouse. He said not to let him in until he came up. Bocai closed the door from the inside. He went into the store and found what he needed. It cost 1,500,000 and he thought it was expensive. He decided there was nothing he could do about it and added it to his shopping cart. Osaka shot through the door. He walked into the warehouse saying that still Bocai lacked brains. He asked if the man was thinking of hiding like that. The hero replied that they were the jerks since they were the ones who came to get kicked out. He thought he was all set. Osaka pointed a gun at Bocai and told him to stop looking like that. He called him a damn otaku and asked if he realized it was a gun. The hero said that Osaka was not morally prepared to shoot. The one shot passed the hero. Toth said he said the same thing. Osaka yelled, "Shut up." Bocai went forward. Osaka yelled for him to stand still. He fired with words for the one to be afraid of him. He hit Bocai numerous times. The one still ran forward with his fist ready. Osaka yelled to stop looking at him like that. He shouted asking who he was talking to. Bocai ran up and punched his fist right in his face with all his might, but Osaka managed to shoot him right in the head. He flew backward hard. Bocai fell. He was lying on the floor, bleeding. Osaka started laughing. The other guys were watching this. Osaka kicked Bocai with his legs while continuing to laugh loudly. At this time, Bocai on the roof said that he was now dead and thought he would stop chasing him. It was a copying doll. Saul said, "Well, the master and Gibbs." Thoth said they were done with that and suggested they go back. Little Totoki turned to little Bocai. He responded. She asked Hiro what he was reading. He replied that Nietzsche. She called him to the festival. He agreed. At school, she approached him and he responded. When she was scared and called out to him, he was there for her. They stood together in a picture from the beach. Later, there was a funeral in Judy's family. There was a coffin in the middle of the room. Totoki turned to Hiro-kun. He answered. She was crying. She said that she was now an older sister, so she shouldn't cry. She said she shouldn't cry, but she continued. Bocai stroked her head. When they were older, Totoki was called to go to karaoke. She said she would go and that she would ask Bocai. The girls asked if it was the same Bocai that was from Group 3. They said that they were already in middle school, after all, and maybe he wanted to hang out with the boys. She was surprised. Later, she stopped by Bocai's classroom apologizing for the delay. He replied. They were walking across the bridge. Totoki stopped and asked if he wasn't out with the other boys. Bocai was surprised. He said he was going to visit his mom today. The girl said she was going too. Bocai sat on the couch with a picture of his mother. Totoki came in to see him. She sat down to him. He asked why she was crying. She replied that she did not know. Bachai said that, and he all the more so because all the feelings were mixed up, that it hurt a lot and the feeling that he couldn't breathe. Totoki lay on his shoulder. At the hospital, Bachai asked how old his mom was, and she said it was a secret. Bachai watched the video and tears dripped onto the screen. Totoki rang his doorbell. No one answered, and she walked in. She called out to Hiro-kun. He yelled at his father that mom died because of him, that he abandoned the family. He yelled that mom was calling for him even as she was dying. He yelled for him to say anything. He screamed to say. Bachai saw Totoki. She said he wasn't at school today, and she was worried about him. He asked why she was crying. She didn't answer. He yelled out asking why and swore. She apologized. Bachi yelled to leave. Later, it was discussed at school that a boy from the first group got into a showdown with the seniors on the first day of school. It was said that in Gives, and it is already the first explanation will be. Someone said he was scared to have such a person in the same class with him. Totoki asked Hiro-kun to go home together. She asked about her uncle. Bachai replied that he didn't know who it was and didn't care. Totoki held a suicide note in her hands. Bachai grabbed the girl's hand. He asked what she was going to do. She replied that she was worried about him, calling him Hiro-kun. He said to stop calling him that already. He yelled that he and alone could get by without her caring about him. He told her to leave and not to talk to him at school. They really didn't talk at school, but Totoki looked at him. When the school was attacked by monsters, she thought of Bachai. When he found her in the crate, she said thank goodness and fell asleep on it, and then he carried her home. He was comforting Mahina. Totoki and Saul were carrying Bachai when they found him injured. Now, Totoki gave Mahina the laundry and asked her to carry Bachai-kun. The latter asked if she would go herself. Totoki replied that she wanted her to carry it and told her to go already. Mahina knocked on the door and said about the laundry. Bachai opened the door and thanked. The girl asked if she and her little sister had a bad relationship. They looked at each other and Bachai smiled. He answered in the affirmative and said that they were. Mahina was very surprised and asked if seriously. There was one monster on the floor. People were standing outside the doors. One showed a hand gesture and they all pounced on the monster. They discussed that great, and there was no one else here. The floor had been cleared. There should be 6 people nearby and they needed to find them. One man yelled to act faster and that there were more and more of them. 2 months later, the destruction continued. The number of casualties totaled 15,238 and 260,000 were missing. The newspapers wrote about a volunteer self-defense unit called the Herald of Peace. On the big screen, it was written that they warned that electricity would be cut off from 4,000 p.m. to 10,000 p.m. from the power grid of the Kanto region. The number of people living on the streets has increased. Across the country, more than 16 million people are no longer living in homes, and 43 million people have been evacuated from the capital. Totoki was reading the news. She was approached by her younger sister. She asked if they could still go outside and still not be able to go back. Totoki looked sad. Bachai came in. She turned to him. He put the bags on the table and she asked what it was. He said he had bought some. Bachai asked Mahina what she wanted. She replied that it was pudding. He behind his back bought pudding from a virtual store and threw it to her. The girl was very happy. He said to speak if she wanted something. Totoki said thank you. She looked at what was in the bags and said wow. Bachai in the room opened the store and his balance. Saul said that with that much he was okay with everything. He agreed. He said that they were the ones talking about low-level dungeons, but there might be higher-level dungeons. He said that enemies can be more than just monsters. Bachai said that he wanted to buy weapons above level C already soon, but needed money. Saul cheerfully suggested going after dungeon course. He said that they can't do that. Saul asked why. Bachi said that he was dead after all. He said he would be noticed right away if he collected cannonballs. He asked what was the point then of him pretending to be dead. The girl shouted that he didn't need to hide. He was so strong after all. Tears came to her eyes. The hero stroked her head with the words that he didn't pretend to be dead because he couldn't win. He said that he didn't say he would hide, but instead, he should start to take action. He turned to Saul and suggested that we become more inconspicuous. She cried out in surprise. People were discussing what wasn't here. A guy had a supply of food in his hands. Another screamed when he saw the monster in front of them. He shouted to the other to run and dragged him back. Suddenly, a girl appeared. She chopped the monster in a leap. The guy was surprised. Her hair fluttered beautifully in the wind. She asked if they were injured. The guy replied that they were not. He thanked her for saving them. She replied that she was always happy to help. Bachai bought the transformation elixir, which means this girl is Hiro. Bachai drank the transformation elixir and began to transform. He became a beautiful girl. He asked how Saul was and what she would say. The girl with shining eyes replied that the master was so handsome. Saul explained how he should smile. In front of those guys, Bachai introduced himself as Torikado. He said he was in charge of cleansing the dungeons. People were yelling loudly. A man was being dragged away from the house, and he was screaming that there was a child inside and begging to be saved. A Torikado approached them and asked them to step back. The man asked who she was. The girl replied that her name was Torikado Sina, and she was in charge of cleansing the dungeons, holding out her business card. Inside the house, she quickly got rid of the core of the dungeon. There was a little girl sitting at the table and crying. The hero approached her and asked her if it was scary. She was very frightened by the girl's sudden appearance. Torikado handed the girl a chupa chupa and told her that her mom was waiting for her. She carried the child outside. The girl's mom thanked her. The girl said it was not worth her thanks. She turned to the people and asked if any of them had any problems with monsters living in their homes. One guy said he had. The Torikado girl said to rely on her. She broke the core of the dungeon. The woman said she had one too. Torikado said to just trust her. She handled the core again. Other people said they had it too. The hero broke the dungeon cores one by one. The girl was asked by different people to help, and she replied that she was happy to. She said that clearing the dungeons of monsters would be handled by her, Torikado Sina. They started writing about her in the news. Otaki was asked if he had heard of a girl cleansing dungeons. The man thought about cleansing dungeons and asked if she was a contractor. The men discussed that she works alone and for free. One of them asked if she should offer to join them. They discussed that they say she uses a katana and whether it is against the law. Talked about it such and such a time. Otaka asked if she helps people, is it bad? He said it was time for them to move out. The man showed Torikado the address, 500 Pina Square. She said how big the mansion was. The man asked to clear it as soon as possible. The girl said 10 million. The man asked what she meant. She replied with a smile that the clearing fee was 10 million. The man said that he was told that she was doing it for free. Torikado replied that she does, but there are special conditions present for large areas. She asked to be understood correctly. Bachi thought about the fact that of course it was a lie. Everything was set up on purpose to take money away from the rich afterward so that he could accumulate enough money. The man said that it was a huge amount of money. The hero thought that maybe he had overdone it after all. A man appeared who said he would give the money. The man addressed him, calling him professor. The professor apologized for the inconvenience. He said that he was the customer of Fukuzawa Joikairo. He said that there were a lot of people who needed help, and it was his choice to invite her. He said that money was not a problem, and he wanted her to do her job. The girl said her name was Torikado Sina, and she was pleased to do business with him. She walked up to the mansion. There were many monsters inside. Using the katana, the hero chopped them apart until he cleared the floor. Torikado put down the katana. She noticed a picture frame and smiled. There was a family in the picture. Bachi thought he could save up some more. The professor was writing out an amount for the girl. He asked if it was really enough and said that if not, he could offer more. Bachai did not think he would so easily agree to give such a large sum. The girl said it was enough and thanked. Torikado smiled. She asked, by the way, if Fukuzawa had a daughter. The man replied that he did. The girl had a proposal. She asked if he could entrust her with her. There was a roll call in the school classroom. Nonomura responded that she was here. Himura also said she was here. Fukuzawa said she was here. It was a girl in a wheelchair. One of the girls told Kana that in today's gym class, she would take her outside. One of the boys asked if he would take her. The girl said that boys are not allowed to touch her. Kana asked the girls why they were arguing so fiercely. They told her not to worry and that they would not let the boys molest her. They said they would protect her. Kana said with a smile that she was so grateful to them. The professor told Torikado that she should remember two things. The first was that she shouldn't tell her that she couldn't be cured. The girl asked what the second one was. Fukuzawa said that the second one was that she should not tell her that she would not be able to be cured. Bachai wondered what the point was. He decided that it made no difference. The girl then suggested to clarify again. She said that if she succeeded, she would receive a reward of 100 million yen. She asked to keep it in mind. Someone called the professor father. Kana appeared. She asked if it was the new doctor. The professor told Torikado that this is his daughter Kana and his wife. The girl said that her name was Sina Torikado and she asked to be called Sina. The girl cheerfully said that she knew that name. Kana asked if she was the one who saved the clinic and their home. She said she had seen her on the internet. The girl's mom said Torikado was very nice. Ta thanked her. Kana asked why the girl was here. Ta wanted to answer, but the hero remembered that you can't say she will be cured and about 100 million yen. She said she was here to examine Kana. She said that in fact, she has some medical skills. Kana said of course, she is her new doctor after all. Torikado said she just has special skills. Bachai thought special skills, yes. She said they would start the examination. Bachai looked at the sheet and thought about how he couldn't understand the results of her tests. Sina created a study from the store. The professor asked what it was. She replied that it was a special examination device. The hero, looking at her feet through the examiner, thought about the fact that he would cure her and get his money and say goodbye to this place. She saw that it was acquired hemiplegia, an injury leading to paralysis, and its cause was a spinal cord injury. She realized what the girl's father meant when he said that you can't tell her that she won't be cured. Torikado and Kana looked at each other. Bachai thought something was wrong. Kana looked with a stern look. She said she had a brother and a sister, and they both work behind the garnish as doctors. She said that at a time like this, she worries how they are doing. She said she thinks they are doing well. Kana said that even when Sina is around now, she feels like she is her sister. The girl replied that that's how it is, in her mind not realizing that it is. Torikado held the girl's feet. She thought her family was a little different. She realized that something was wrong. The girl said that the examination was complete. The professor asked to know the results and said to wait. He asked his wife and daughter to leave them alone. Sina said that it was not necessary and she would like his daughter and wife to hear about it. She said about his daughter's feet. Fukuzawa was outraged. She said they would not recover. She said they would not recover, and there was no chance that it was an acquired hemiplegia caused by a compression fracture of the spine. She asked Mr. Fukuzawa if that was the case, that there was no chance of curing them. The girl's mother said what she says. The girl said that, however, she could cure Kana and she could make their daughter able to walk right now. The girl's parents were shocked. Torikado showed the flask and said that this is the medicine, and when their daughter drinks this, her legs will be cured immediately and she will be able to walk today. The professor asked if she was 100% sure. The girl replied that she was without a doubt. The hero bought a mini elixir. This medicine is not cheap, but he will earn significantly from it. Torikado said she understood him and he would only pay her after she cured his daughter's feet. Bachai wondered if this strange feeling had something to do with him not wanting to tell his daughter about it. He wondered if the professor would agree. The one thought. He tilted his head. He wondered if she would really recover. Sina smiled. The hero thought that he must be getting himself too worked up. The girl replied that of course. Bachai thought about how he just wanted his 100 million and he would just cure her. Kana looked angry. She silently told Torikado to die. The girl turned to her father and asked him to leave her alone with Dr. Sina. He wanted to object, but the daughter insisted. The parents left. Kana asked if all Torikado cared about was money. Bachi realized that's how. He realized that she was the cause of that strange feeling. The girl said that all doctors are the same, but she is the first woman among them, and the men are too stupid. She said she didn't care and didn't care about her. Bachai thought about the fact that, however, he is a man. Kana shouted not to stand in her way and prevent her from taking her revenge. Torikato asked what kind of revenge. The girl asked if she was crazy and said she would give her one piece of advice. She told her to just disappear, adding that she was fucking pissing her off. Kana said she doesn't want her feet treated and she needs it to make her damn father suffer. She said that's what her revenge is. Torikato started clapping her hands. She said this is excellent. Kana told her to shut up. She told her to just get the hell out of here. Shina replied that she couldn't. She said she would definitely fix her legs because she needed that money. The girl asked if money was the only thing she cared about and told her to just leave. Torikato then offered to make a deal. The girl interjected. Torikato said she would do anything she wanted for her, and in return she wanted her to let her heal her feet. Kana interrogated if it was anything she wanted. She told her then to undress. Sina said that of course she could do that. Kana happily agreed. But the girl said that, however, Kana is not so foolish as to waste her desire on that. The girl became indignant. Torikato said that she would exact her revenge for her in return, and that was her offer. She said that if she told her why she wanted revenge and how she wanted to do it, she would help her if she told her. She said that because she could do anything. Kana shouted that Sina is a fool and to do it, and she will not tell her anything. The girl replied her that fine, and in that case, she opened a store. Kana asked what it was. Torikato bought a memory key and said that it was her ability. She swung the key and said now girls show her. She saw that Fukuzawa said that the strong build their castles on the foundation of the weak. Little Kana was listening. He said that the key to power is to help rule the weak, in which case, one will stand at the top and divide his power among all. The world is ruled by those who stand at the top and divide their wealth and power among those who stand beneath. Kana and Torikato watched this from above. Kana asked what it was. Sana replied that it was her past. She said that she could only watch but not interfere. Kana said it was such a strange feeling and noticed something in her legs. Her father said that even though people are born different, they, the Fukuzawa family, stand at the top. He told the girl that she would stand above others, not letting anyone get close to her. She should be that person who excels others in everything. Kana happily agreed with her daddy. She had many certificates. She was the first to run distances, perform on stage. The girls told Kana that it was excellent. Kana told daddy that she had won first place. He replied that it was good. The girl rejoiced. Torikato pointed to the awards and told the girl to look. She said she couldn't make even a little success at it and asked if she said she couldn't do any of these things now and asked again if she could. Kana got angry and asked again. Sina said they would go next, and they fell through the black portal. They were falling down. It was raining and a car was driving under it. Little Kana was sitting on the seat. In the back sat Sina and Kana in the present. The girl said that nothing was happening and suggested that they just move on to the next day. Sina replied that she had no control over it, and apparently Kana wanted another look at the day. The others shouted that it couldn't be. The professor at the wheel was talking on the phone. He was surprised and said he hadn't heard of such a thing. He said to solve these problems ourselves. Kana shouted to her father. There was an accident. A truck crashed into their car. Kana ended up in a wheelchair. Her mother blamed her father that Kana lost her legs because of him. He wondered if it was because of him. She screamed to shut up and get out of here. Her classmates told the girl that they would protect her. She thanked them for always helping her. Kana told her daddy that she could no longer play the piano or swim. She said she could play the violin, could study diligently in school, and could speak English. Her father appealed to her. He told her that that was enough. She asked in surprise that enough was enough. She asked what he meant by that. She said it was his fault. Kana said that he was the one who made her like this, that this pain and her unmoving legs, she lost everyone, and it was only his fault. She said it was all just his fault. Sina said that this is it, her story, and she's just a fool. Kana was tearfully surprised and asked again. Torikado said she wondered how she wanted revenge after she said that. She asked if Kana was just trying to play the role of a hurt girl in the drama. Torikado said she would teach her how to confront it. Kana asked what was the right way to fight and what was all the talk in general. Torikado walked over and gave her a flick. Kana shouted, asking what the girl was doing. The girl asked if she was angry. She teased her. Kana held her head and then tried to hit Sina, but she deftly dodged. Sina asked how the girl thought why she couldn't hit. The one replied that it was because she was running away. The girl replied that she was not. Sina said it was because she couldn't walk and that if her legs moved she could hit her back and it would be easier to get revenge. Kana asked if she meant to heal her legs in order to take revenge. She yelled that Sina doesn't understand anything so she shouldn't pry. The hero said that when he was about her age, his mom died. She was sick. He said that when she was dying, he held her hands. She couldn't see or hear. Pain pierced her body as she breathed. He said she called for him, her father, without end. Bachi said he was not there. When he told his father that his mother had died, he asked why. Bachi wanted to hit him, to kill him, but he couldn't. He said that is why he understands. What his father took away can be given back if you heal your legs. He said that's why fight, and that he would help with the treatment. Kana shouted that it was all fiction, and it was all for money. Torikado handed the key to the girl and told her to hold it. She said that she could look into her past. Kana asked if she realized that she would be watching her mother die. Sina said yes. Kana tensed up. She brought the key up to the girl's chest, but changed her mind. She asked why Torikado would go so far and if she wanted money so badly. The one replied that she had no reason or purpose. Bachi said that if he from the past were in front of his eyes right now, he would do the same thing. He said he understood that he did not want revenge, but just to see his mother, but he could not. Hiro said that Kana's legs could be cured and then she could beat him all she wanted. He said it would be different and asked if that wasn't great. Bachi patted her on the head and she yelped in displeasure. He said if she wanted revenge, let her tell him. The hero reminded her that he had said he would grant any one wish, after all. The girl looked at him. The girl drank the elixir and her legs began to change. She got up from the chair. Her parents came in. Her father headed toward her. He held his head and cried. Kana was surprised. He reached out his hand and fell at his daughter's feet. Kana looked at him. Torikado was walking away. Kana shouted to her to stop. The woman asked what the lady wanted. The girl said, "Well, split personality." Sina replied that it was easier for her. Kana asked if she is the only one who knows about it. Torikado said yes, she does. Kana said then she would not tell anyone and asked her to believe. Sena replied that she believes. The girl hugged her with a smile. She said that she had come to hit him. He had promised after all. Bachi was surprised at first and then said to start, putting up a defense just in case. Kana said she was going to hit him in the face, so she asked him to close his eyes. She swung around and lightly slapped her cheek. Kana kissed Bachi on the other cheek. He was very surprised. She said that he had, after all, promised to fulfill one wish of hers. She offered to date him. At this time in the city, the buildings with monsters were sealed and people passed by. More and more dungeons were popping up all over the country. Monsters were running through the city with screams. They were dropping pillars, destroying everything. Some were taller than houses. In the traffic jam of cars, everyone was yelling at each other to be faster, that someone couldn't drive, that they had to get out of the car and run, that everyone had to move out of the way, asking not to push, yelling to run, asking to pass with a child. On social media, it was all discussed. At this time, Bachi in the form of Torikado was disbanding the dungeon cores one by one. He said that just as he thought, the dungeon was getting bigger. The distance that was limited to one house had now spread as far as 30 or even 40 units. But despite that, the core is the same. So, one must think that it developed a dungeon that was already there before. The hero thought that it was good that the core would sell. But he didn't think that it would stop. Here, even the dwellings would disappear. He, while cutting another core, decided that he should think hard about it. The news said that many buildings and roads were destroyed and immediate evacuations were being carried out. Totoki said she would do her best. Mahina agreed and said that Coin would do her best. The older sister thanked her. At this time, Bachai rejected Kana's call. This was watched by Saul. A notification came to him and he unfolded it. In the voicemail message, Kana asked if Bachi was very busy right now. She said that she wanted to talk for a while, that she thought she was a very special person to him. First love after all, to even think about it, and immediately his heart starts pounding so fast. She said she always wanted to be there for him, and that's why she asked to call him back soon. Saul got angry. She turned to the owner. He asked what was wrong. She said that Saul saw everything. Yes, who is she, and so unfair? The character realized that she was talking about kissing Kana. Saul said she will do that too. Bachi yelled to stop. Totoki saw Bachai's scratched face and asked about him. He replied that it was nothing like that. The girl gave him a piece of paper and said she was thinking of buying this for 3. He agreed. She asked if he was going out again, adding that it was dangerous. He said he was only going to see the surroundings, thinking that although it was actually a core hunt. Totoki yelled for him to stop and took his hand. He was surprised. She reached up with her thumb. Bachai asked if it was a finger game. She said it was and counted to 7. He won, to which she was surprised. They started playing again, and after counting to 10, she lost again. Totoki said that still she failed, and she realized it as soon as she took his hand. Bachai asked to let go. She, still holding it, said she realized what she wanted to do. The girl said that he was stronger than her, and it was natural, so it was easier for him to survive under the present circumstances. She said she always looked after him, and now she is here because he is definitely stronger than her. Totoki said that this is what she realized, that she doesn't want to look at his back anymore. She said that she wanted to try harder to get stronger. Totoki hesitated and then asked what she would do exactly. The girl hesitated. He said the same as always, only in words, pushing her slightly. Totoki said it hurt. The hero told her to be home and left the house. From behind the door, he yelled that he closed it. Mahina said Coin will try harder. The girl sadly agreed. The bicycle was lying on the grass. Little Bachai said that they were going back for the day. Totoki refused and said she didn't want to go anywhere until she succeeded. He said he would leave her. The girl tearfully said she wanted to ride with him. Bachi didn't know, and what was it that he remembered now? Already in the form of Torikado, he looked at the mirror to observe. He said that the number of monsters was 31, and that was 1 trash. He said that was great. Kana ran up the stairs to meet him, screaming what she had found. The hero marveled at her and asked her why she was here. The top playfully replied that it was by accident. She said she was lying and that she had installed an app by which she could find out his location. Bachi said that he would delete it, and for her to leave because it was dangerous here. She, with a frightened look, asked again if it was seriously dangerous. Kana smiled and asked if he was worried about her now. Bachai said, "What a noisy girl." Suddenly Osaka appeared in front of them and asked, and suggested they have fun calling them sisters. Kana asked the hero who they were. The man told her to go back. He thought that of course he had assumed such a. Osaka's team was killing monsters. They shouted that there was a core and they should kill it quickly. The guy in black showed Osaka his phone with a seal sticker. Torikado said that surely they must know her. Osaka said she seems to be collecting cannonballs, except they do too. He offered to make a deal, all the cannonballs she collected or. The girl asked, or what? He hesitated and pointed the gun at her, asking if it was a deal. He said she had only 2 options, either she gives all the kernels away or she becomes his woman. He asked what she would choose, adding that this body was too pretty to waste, then laughed. Kana got angry. She almost said that he was a creature. Bachai was agreeable to 200 points. Kana shouted asking what they were doing and if they knew who Torikado was. She said the one was strong to the point of insanity that they and monsters were torn apart in an instant and her legs healed. She said she would even marry her. Bachai thought that was a lie, a brazen lie. Osaka said he wasn't interested in the kids and he was providing her to the guys. Torikado asked about his gun and if it could shoot. Osaka was surprised and asked again. The girl apologized and said that this was the second time a gun was pointed at her, and her past opponent was so afraid of her that he couldn't even shoot her. She asked if he would shoot her that way. Osaka asked if he looked like an idiot. He said he had even killed a man with that thing, that it was a guy with a cocky look, and he had dealt with him in no time. Bachi thought he was lying and not blushing. Osaka said that she was also a pretty daring girl, and he would forcefully rip her clothes off. Kana said he was disgusting. Torikado asked him to come down to earth, calling him Mr. King. He shouted that he was good, calling her a bitch. The girl prepared a weapon and said she doesn't usually cut people. Osaka asked if that was how and said they would just make her comfortable. He laughed while the guy with the big arm broke the bridge. Torikado managed to jump back, carrying the lovelorn Kana in her arms. Osaka's men fell to the ground. He yelled for them to get up, calling them assholes. Osaka yelled about the cannonball and for them to take them. Kana looked at Bachi with loving eyes as he dealt with Osaka's allies. Bolsharuk threw a punch at the girl. Bachi thought it was him again. The guy didn't understand why she didn't die. Osaka shouted at him, asking if he couldn't kill her, and called him an idiot. He told him to break her legs so she wouldn't be so frisky. Bachi didn't understand, but first he decided to get behind Osaka, which he did. He knocked him down. A guy in black appeared in front of Torikado and restrained her katana. Osaka asked what that black stuff was. He laughed at her failure and shouted surrender or give them the cannonballs. She didn't answer. Osaka was very surprised looking at her and called her a creature. He recognized that look. He remembered Bachi's face and thought it couldn't be. He wondered what the hell he was. He said that time, he was the one who fired the gun. Torikado said that she didn't know what he was talking about, but if he didn't kill anyone, he was nothing. Osaka was very angry. At this time, the guys grabbed Kana. She was screaming for them to let her go. Bachi used a rendition of the goods. He did it in such a way that swords flew straight at the guys surrounding the girl. He thought about the fact that he couldn't keep fighting while Kana was around. He took her in his arms and climbed onto the roof. Osaka shouted for them to stand. He laughed out loud. He thanked them for their time and said that he would definitely kill her this time. Kana said it was awesome. Bachi asked if she thought she was heavy. Thea replied that she didn't think so. The hero thought that he would be able to stand it, but Kana's house was far enough away. So they ended up at his house. Totoki greeted Bachi with a smile, but when she looked to see who had come in, she saw Kana and Torikado. She was confused and didn't understand what was going on. Osaka yelled for the bastard to be damned. The guys gave him a cell phone. On the phone, he yelled that it was him and asked for their address from the school data. He yelled to shut up and tell the old man what he said. To the guys, he told them that now there was left to wait and called out to go. The guy in black showed him a cell phone. It said about time and quota. Osaka shouted to wait that he had found a place where there were many cores and now they could make it to the quota. The guy showed the screen where it said about the order. Osaka asked if he was joking and said he had to follow his orders. The guy wrote on his phone that Osaka had to obey. Thoth got angry. He yelled that they would take the cores and fulfill the double quota and told the one to go back and hand them over. He yelled for everyone to get up, calling them scum. The guy with the big hand asked why the boss was using them and said they were weak and hated him. The guy in black remained silent. They disappeared underground. At this time, Kana was holding onto Torikado's hand. Totoki didn't understand who Torikado was and couldn't believe what was happening. She wondered who it was and hoped that Bachi would come back sooner. Kana pointed her finger at Totoki and asked who she was and what she was doing here. The girl was frightened by that face. Bachi thought about her being a pain in the ass. Mahina approached them. She looked at Torikado and said it was nice to meet her. The girl pulled an owl toy out of her sleeve and gave it to her. She said the girl was good for saying hello. Tha thanked her and started to toss the toy. Torikado said she was leaving and told Kana to stay out of the way and stay here. Totoki thought that was rude and Kana said she would love to. Totoki thought for a moment. She caught up with Torikado and said she wanted to ask her something. She asked if she was related to Bachi. The latter hesitated. She said she was in a hurry. Totoki said just not that. She noticed the sword and asked if Torikado was fighting. She said that, like her, Totoki wanted to become as strong as she was. Bachai thought that if she didn't say what she wanted quickly, he would kill her and that she was annoying. The girl continued. She said that she wasn't very good at it. Torikado interjected. Totoki said that she is losing control, but she wants to believe that she can become strong, and she wants to do her best. She asked if Torikado understands her. She said she doesn't even know where to start. Bachi thought about her saying the same thing. The hero didn't understand what she was talking about. She said that because of her nature, Bachi doesn't want to take her seriously. She said that she doesn't want him to see her like that she doesn't want to show it. She said she doesn't know what to do. Kana and Mahina were peeping over the conversation. Kana furiously wanted her to leave. Torikado asked why she was telling her that. Totoki explained herself. She said because Torikado looks like him. She said maybe it's because they are related, they have the same atmosphere. Bachai thought that sounded kind of weird. Totoki asked to be told what was wrong with her. She said she would fix herself and do anything. She said she wanted to be like her, and then she could get closer to Bachai-kun. Kana thought that fool. Torikado used the store and gave Totoki a package. She said it was a sword. She said that having it was half done and left. Totoki thought that was it. Kana intervened and asked what she was doing. Totoki was scared. Kana shouted that she had never received gifts from her and it was unfair. She asked her to give the sword to her. After calming down, she said that meant that she loved him. She was at his house after all. Totoki became embarrassed. She was frightened and all red. She said it wasn't that she liked him or anything. Kana said that it was the opposite. She liked him. She said she would marry him too. Totoki said that marriage is great. Kana said that if Torikado didn't like her, she would be dead by now. The girl didn't understand. Kana said to look at her, she didn't even think of giving her a gift, constantly annoyed and pissed off. She said that maybe she just didn't care about her. Totoki interjected. Kana said that she hadn't liked anyone before and didn't know what it was like to like someone. She said that she wanted to be noticed at least a little bit, that she had tried everything. Kana said that she was no good at anything. She said that every time she tries, she feels nothing, like someone ripped her heart out. She said that it hurts. She asked if Totoki did too. The latter was surprised. She said that from her point of view, Bachai-kun is so strong and she is so far away from him, she can only cling to him and believe. She said that's why she should go after him. Kana giggled. Totoki said that she is definitely not in love with him. Kana said she was lying. Kana said that love stories are fun, and she used to think that everyone who talks about love deserves to die. But she is not her enemy, or just not the best of them. Kana offered to try to get along. Totoki said that, and yet, she misunderstood her. However, she wished them luck. The girls heard a sound and were frightened. A team of guys broke through the wall and entered the house. Kana asked who they were. Totoki heard a creak and the door opened. Osaka walked in. He said the door was unlocked and how careless they were. He pulled out a gun and said that this is a dangerous world after all. Totoki recognized Osaka. At school, Totoki saw Bachai getting beaten up. She thought she should say something to them. Osaka noticed her and asked her what she was staring at, calling her a critter. She wondered what she should do. Osaka kicked her hard in the stomach. Now he told her what kind of meeting, calling her his dear. He asked if the bastard had brought the girl home. She wondered what he was doing here, what she should do, why, how. Osaka told her not to shake. He said he was a busy man, so he always rushed to his job as soon as he had one. He asked her where the kernels were. Totoki did not understand what they were. Kana was grabbed. Osaka said to talk faster or he would kill her. Kana shouted that he was a bastard, and in another situation he would be crawling around begging for forgiveness, and because that would be the case soon. Osaka got angry. He hit her hard with the gun. Totoki was frightened and Kana fell unconscious. Osaka called her a useless thing and told the guys to search the place. They started searching all over the apartment. Totoki wanted them to stop. She thought they would destroy his house. She wanted them to stop. Osaka looked at her and asked what she was up to. She pulled out a knife and told her to stop all of this. Osaka laughed out loud. He shouted that she couldn't do that after all. She remembered him telling her not to look at him, calling her trash. She said to stay away. Totoki said that if he touched anything in this house again, he would never know where the cores were. Osaka said realized it was interesting and told her to try it. He kicked her hard, telling her to show off for him here. At this time, Bochai came to the place where he had last seen Osaka. He saw that he wasn't here. The hero wished to deal with him before he made a mess and wondered where he had gone. Saul turned to the Lord. He asked what happened. She said that they were attacked by enemies. Bochai replied that he understood and would be right back. Osaka asked the boys if they still found. The girls were lying unconscious. Osaka started shooting upwards. He yelled that if they didn't want him to finish them off, they should work faster. Saul hid Mahina and mentally told the master to hurry up. The guys were discussing what was on the second floor. One said that he told them there was none upstairs. Another said to check again or they would be killed. One of the guys said they were nowhere. A shot rang out. Osaka yelled that the damn trash couldn't handle such an easy task. He yelled for them to do as he said and not dare to cross him. He yelled for them to find the cannonballs, and whoever couldn't find them would be shot. Totoki opened her eyes a little. She was crying. The girl thought about how she was forever running away from the battle. She reached for her knife. She thought about how she wanted to become stronger. She stood up and brought the knife to her throat. Osaka asked what she was up to. He pointed the gun to his forehead. Osaka said stop faking it and that she wanted to die. Totoki said she wouldn't stop and offered to do it. Go ahead. Osaka was getting angry. He interjected and yelled that it was a gun and she would die if she was shot, that she was afraid, that she should be afraid of him. He yelled for her to say that. She said of course, she was always afraid of everything. Osaka yelled that she and the bastard were scum, for her not to look at him like that. Suddenly, Osaka fell backward. He didn't realize what had happened. A katana stabbed into the ground between him and Totoki. Torikado appeared. She stroked Totoki's head and apologized, adding that there had been traffic. She said that it was a good job. Totoki realized that it was Bachai. She fell to the ground. Osaka said there he was. Bachai apologized for keeping him waiting. He called Osaka a scumbag. Bachi said he would kill him. Osaka yelled that they were trash and always getting in his way. He yelled that he would show him that he would kill him. He yelled for him to die. Torikado swung her katana. Osaka's gun was shattered. She also wounded Osaka himself. He screamed. He asked if he was going to kill him, really. He said he had been bad and asked for forgiveness. He said he would do anything, but asked not to do it. He yelled for help. Bachi told him to shut up. Saul and Mahina ran out of the house screaming to their little sister and mistress. Bochai was surprised. Mahina ran up to her sister and told her to get up. Saul ran to hug her master. Bochai looked back and went to the house. Osaka pointed his gun at his boys and asked what they were doing. He yelled for them to get to work quickly. He realized that his gun was broken and got even angrier. He yelled for them to kill them immediately, to do it. Torikado took Kana in her arms and asked why they were following this piece of shit. She told them to get the hell out of here. The boys ran. Osaka yelled out what they were doing. He grabbed one by his shirt and yelled at him not to run. The one punched him in the face, with words to get his hands off. Osaka was left alone, sitting on the ground. He stood up and spoke about the cannonballs. He told Bachai that if only he had kernels, he would destroy them all. He repeated about the kernels. Suddenly, a pillar of light appeared. Everyone was surprised. Monsters appeared. Bochai assumed that a dungeon was appearing here. Osaka realized this and laughed. He shouted about the core, asking where it was, where Bachai had hidden it. He shouted that he would find it. He hugged the crystal and said that now it would have power. He laughed. The hero thought about what the hell it was. It wasn't a core. He thought about how different it was from the dungeons he had been in. He shouted that he was in charge as suddenly there was an explosion. Many crystals sprouted from the house. Bachai remembered Osaka smiling as he taunted him. Now he was covered in blood, pierced through and through by a crystal. Bachai thought about how the dungeon had changed. He thought that in that case, they should run and hurried Saul. She agreed and said she was about to break. Totoki and Bachai's arms began to wake up. She thanked him. He said that he was the one to thank. Someone pointed their hand and said about destruction. Everything was turning into crystals. The boy told the leader that he had taken care of it. The guy suggested going further. The guy showed the direction and said there were 3 places this time, and all at the same time. The leader replied that now. The Flash's underground and evolution accelerated that day. Dungeon after dungeon continued to consume human life. 6 months passed. Mom asked Kana what she was doing. She said, getting ready, that it was dangerous outside. The girl said it's okay, and she has someone to protect her. The mom told Kana that Joichiro said, her father, he worries about her more than anything. Kana replied that she doesn't care. She said she has no idea what to talk to her own father about, so she can't even imagine a picture of the 3 of them sitting around talking. She said it was fine. Her mom asked if she minded having dinner with the 3 of them. Kana told her to make beef stew, Dad's favorite dish. She said she didn't know if they would be able to talk like they did then. Her mom said to trust her and said she was very good at it. Kana said she went. Her mom replied to take care of herself. According to recollections, at 1421, the simultaneous appearance of giant pillars was observed in Tokyo. At 8:24 p.m., a total of 54 pillars appeared in the Kanto region, some exceeding 100 meters. The next day, at 1644, the appearance of a 400-meter pole in Tokyo was confirmed, and the number of poles observed nationwide exceeded 1,000. At 8:30 in the morning, the government determined that the appearance of the pillars was part of the underground, and announced that the death toll from the appearance of the pillars exceeded several 100,000. Kana stood outside the ruined house, not realizing what it was, She smelled that odor. The girl remembered the words about dinner for the 3 of them, about beef stew, about it being Papa's favorite dish. She remembered saying she was going and her mom telling her to take care of herself. A bloody arm was sticking out from under the rubble. Kana realized that it was her father. She asked Torikado to help her father, not only him, but Nozomi-san as well. With tears she begged, just like her legs, to heal them. She begged faster, they would die. Totoki was on the phone screaming that she wasn't dead. She asked her little sister to stop and said that Mahina was fine, and since her father was fine too, then consider it no problem. About Bachai-kun, she said that he's busy right now and that he's fine anyway. She said she doesn't have time and see you soon. Mahina asked if she had a fight with her sister. Totoki apologized to Mahina and asked if she wanted to say something. She said next month, and with the best of luck, she could talk to her as early as next week. Mahina replied that it was no big deal. She motioned for Saul to go, and they staggered off by the handle. Totoki remained silent. She thought about the fact that their daily lives had changed so much. What used to be unusual was now the order of the day, and maybe they were just getting over it already. She told Kana that she was back. The latter replied to her with a welcome back. Totoki asked where Shina was. Kana replied that the one said she was leaving, and that was it. Totoki said minimal words as usual. Kana, hugging a pillow with a picture of Torikado, said that's her awesomeness and she adores it. Kana asked if she had talked to Bachai. Totoki replied that she hadn't and that she had chatted with her family and she and her sister had a little fight. Kana felt sad at the word family. Totoki asked her if she needed to go back to her family. She replied that she didn't and asked if she was not happy with something. Totoki replied that no, and that there was nothing wrong. She said that rather, she was relieved that Kana was here. Ta asked if that was true. The man said that if the scale is small, even Japan's self-defense forces can handle them, but these monsters are very strong. The country calls it subjugation, but in fact they can only hinder them a little. He said that in that respect they, the Apostle of Peace, are just vigilantes, that making barricades or looking for lost children is all they can do. And today Torikado helped them again. The woman asked why today's reward was doubled. The man asked to take it and not ask too many questions. She asked what he meant. He asked if she had heard from Inachai Shirazu. Torikado interjected. He said that they were a group of people who took advantage of the mess that was going on to do whatever they wanted. He said that not only were they stealing, but they were killing and maiming innocent people and destroying buildings. And against their backdrop, even monsters didn't seem so monstrous anymore. The girl asked what was wrong with them. He said he was exploring the dungeons looking for missing children, and if he wasn't mistaken, she was babysitting a dungeon victim, and her name was Fukuzawa. He asked if that was correct. Torikado was frightened. The man said that this family was attacked by a Nachai Shirazu. He asked if it was true that the mother's body had never been found and said that they probably had her. He said that when their victims are women, they play with them until their last breath and then just throw them away, an unfortunate but not worth giving Kana hope. Torikado clenched her teeth. She said that she would cooperate with the Apostle of Peace on a free basis for the time being, so she asked for more details about these people. He asked not to be misunderstood and said that they do not trade in information, and they, the Apostle of Peace, have also lost many. Some have died in attempts at revenge. So that no more lives would be lost, he asked the girl to help them, bowing. He handed her an envelope and said it was compensation for their request. Bachai thought about the rumors that they were connected to the dungeons. Someone said that most of the kidnappings happened just in the same area and at the same time when the pillars were destroyed. It comes out that they combine nuclear stockpiling and kidnapping. People, he thought, the very people they suddenly encounter while making the rounds of the dungeons, and they've gotten comfortable. Someone asked him if Torikado's seen her. The hero didn't understand how the guy managed to sneak up on him. Torikado said that the dungeon cleanup contractor was at his service. He said that they were looking for someone, or rather, people like her. He said that skill holders. Bochai thought that there was no way that could be. The guy said what a morass, and anyway, they wanted her to join them. He said to Inachai Shirazu. Torikado was ready to pull out her katana.